Salvete omnes, I'm Magistra Abelseth, and this video is going to explore nouns in English, but we're going to use the terminology of Latin grammar. This way, when we're talking about nouns in Latin and English, you'll have a point of reference for the English and how the words apply in both languages. First of all, which words are nouns? The word noun comes from the Latin word nomen, which means name. The name of a person, Cornelius, Aurelia. The name of a place, Rome, Italy. The name of a thing, cup, pen. Or the name of an idea, swiftness, wisdom. These are all examples of different kinds of nouns. Let's practice identifying types of nouns in English. Here is a list of 10 nouns: Virginia, Augustus, dress, slowness, Marcus, Flavia, imagination, creativity, book, school. Pause the video and in your head or on your own piece of paper, write down which type of noun each of these nouns is, what category: a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. When you're ready, hit play again to find out what the answers are. Here are the answers. Virginia is a place. It's the name of a place. Augustus is a name. It's the name of a person. Dress is a thing, a physical object. Slowness is an idea. It's intangible. We can't reach out and touch slowness. Marcus is the name of a person. Flavia is also the name of a person. Imagination is another idea. It's intangible. We can't reach out and touch an imagination itself. Creativity is also an idea. It's also intangible. Can't reach out and touch creativity. You can touch art, but not the creativity. A book is a thing, a physical object you can reach out and touch. For school, if you said place, thing, or idea, they're all correct. With this noun, it depends on context. If you go to school, you're going to a place. But if you're talking about a school building as a thing in a diagram or something, then it would be a thing. Or if you're talking about the concept of school and learning and education, then it's an idea. So sometimes it depends on context. Summary and review. What's a noun? A noun is a type of word. Nouns are people, places, things, and ideas. One noun can belong to more than one category. Now let's talk about what nouns can do. What nouns can do: first part, subject and object. The teacher holds the pencil, and the pencil holds the teacher. The words are the same, but they're in a different order. And if we were to draw pictures of these two sentences, we would have two different pictures. In the first one, the teacher is holding a pencil. In the second one, the pencil is holding a teacher. It's a little bit weird, but we'll run with it. The teacher holds the pencil. In this sentence, the teacher is responsible for the action. The teacher is the subject. The pencil is moved or changed by the action. The pencil is the direct object. The pencil holds the teacher. The pencil is responsible for the action, so the pencil is the subject. The teacher is moved or changed by the action, so the teacher is the direct object. What nouns can do, part 2, possessive, partitive, and objective. The pencil of the teacher. The first pencil of the pack. The sharpener of pencils. All three of these examples have the word of in them. These are all examples of what's called the genitive case. The genitive case will always use of. The pencil of the teacher. This is a pencil that belongs to a teacher. It shows possession. The first pencil of the pack. This shows that the pencil is part of a greater whole, so this is a partitive. The sharpener of pencils. The pencils are the object being sharpened. This is called an objective genitive. The pencil of the teacher. The teacher possesses or owns the pencil. The first pencil of the pack. The pencil is one part of the pack. The sharpener of pencils. The sharpener moves or changes the pencil. What nouns can do. Part 3. Indirect object versus direct object. The teacher gives the pencil to the student. The student gives the pencil to the teacher. And the teacher gives the student to the pencil. All three of these sentences have an indirect object that benefits from the action, as well as a direct object that is moved or changed by the action. In the first sentence, the teacher is giving a pencil to the student. In the second sentence, the student is giving a pencil to the teacher. And in the third sentence, the teacher is giving a student to the pencil. So in the first sentence, the student benefits from the action of the teacher. The pencil is moved by the action of the teacher. The pencil moves from the teacher to the student. The pencil is the direct object. The student receives the pencil and benefits from this action, so the student is the indirect object. In the second sentence, the student gives the pencil to the teacher. The teacher benefits from the action of the student because the pencil moves from the student to the teacher. The teacher now has a pencil, so that's a benefit. The pencil is moved from the student to the teacher. Since the pencil is the thing being moved, the pencil is the direct object. In our third example, the teacher gives the student to the pencil. Now the pencil benefits from the action of the teacher because now the pencil has a student and that's a benefit. And the student is the direct object because the student moves from the teacher to the pencil, being directly acted on. What nouns can do. Place to which, place from which, and place where. We're on part 4. The teacher walks toward the student. The student walks away from the teacher. The teacher dances on the copy machine. Now these terms, place to which, place from which, and place where, they can sound a little bit weird because we don't usually talk this way in English, but place to which means the place you're moving toward. The teacher walks toward the student. The student, in this case, is placed to which because the student is where the teacher is walking toward. Place from which means the place you just left. The student walks away from the teacher. The teacher is the place from which because the teacher is the place the student just left. And place where is where you are while you do something. You're not moving into it. You're not moving out of it. You're staying put. The teacher dances on the copy machine. The entire dance takes place on top of the copy machine. So when we're looking at these sentences, we see that the teacher walks toward the student and the student is the place to which the teacher is walking. We see that the student walks away from the teacher. The teacher is the place from which the student begins walking. And the teacher dances on the copy machine. The copy machine is the place where the teacher is dancing. Now you'll notice on this slide we have different markers in these English sentences. Toward the student is underlined and bold. Away from the teacher has purple stars, and on the copy machine has purple stars. That's because they're using different cases. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. What nouns can do. Part 5. Cause, accompany, and support. The student writes because of the teacher. Cause. The teacher writes with the student. Accompaniment. The teacher writes with the pencil. Support. The pencil writes with the teacher. So drawing pictures of these sentences, the student writes because of the teacher. We have a student holding a pencil, writing on a piece of paper, and the teacher standing there telling them to do it. In the second one, the teacher and the student are each writing with their own pencil on their own paper, but they're doing it together. They are accompanying each other for the writing. The teacher writes with the pencil supports the teacher doing the writing, and the pencil writes with the teacher, so the teacher supports the pencil doing the writing. The student writes because of the teacher causes the student to write. The teacher writes with the student accompanies the teacher while writing. The teacher writes with the pencil supports the teacher completing the task. And the pencil writes with the teacher supports the pencil completing the task. Summary and review. What can nouns do? They can do a lot. A noun can be responsible for an action. A noun can be moved or changed by an action. A noun can possess something, be part of a whole, or be an object of another noun. A noun can benefit from an action. A noun can be a cause, an accomplice, or a tool. Noun cases and uses. This is going to be a lot of grammar terminology. When a noun is responsible for an action, that noun is called a subject nominative. When a noun is moved or changed by an action, that noun is called an accusative direct object. When a noun is possessing something, that noun is called a possessive genitive. When a noun is the whole for a part, that noun is called a partitive genitive. When a noun is the object of another noun, that noun is called an objective genitive. When a noun benefits from an action, that noun is called a dative indirect object. When a noun is a cause, that noun is called an ablative of cause. When a noun is an accomplice, that noun is called an ablative of accompaniment. When a noun is a tool, that noun is called an ablative of means. Why do we do this with our language? I don't know. My best guess is that someone was really bored and sat down and decided to categorize and label all the different things we do with nouns. The reality is that when it comes to translating Latin to English, or when it comes to reading and understanding Latin or English, you don't always need to know what these words are in order to understand what's happening in the sentence. However, in a Latin classroom, when we're talking about a sentence and we're trying to understand it, if we can ask, is that an ablative of cause or an ablative of means, that can help us understand what we're looking at in the sentence. Which brings me to formulaic noun phrases. Nominative nouns are usually expressed as the noun and are placed before the verb. This is English. Genitive nouns are usually expressed as of the noun or the nouns with an apostrophe s. Dative nouns are usually expressed as to the noun or for the noun. Accusative nouns are usually expressed as the noun and are placed after the verb or after a preposition, such as toward or into. You have to pay attention to the accusative and the nominative when you're looking at this in English because they're both the noun. The difference is whether it's in front of the verb or whether it's after the verb. Ablative nouns are usually expressed in phrases like because of the noun, with the noun, by the noun, or from the noun. And honestly, if you're not sure what case a noun is, and it's not any of the formulas that you see here, it's probably ablative. Here's the bottom line about all of these cases and uses. This is what you need to know. You need to be able to recognize the case of a noun phrase. The noun before the verb is nominative. Of the noun is genitive. To or for the noun is dative. The noun after the verb or after a preposition is accusative. Because of, with, from, or by the noun is ablative. You also need to be able to identify the use of a noun. The noun before the verb is called the subject. Of the noun is a possessive, a partitive, or an objective, depending on context. To or for the noun is an indirect object. The noun after a verb or after a preposition is a direct object, or if it comes after a preposition, it's the object of a preposition. And because of, with, from, or by the noun is cause, means, accompaniment, manner, place from which, place where, and a whole bunch of other things, because the ablative is ridiculous. And all of it depends on context. Summary and review. So one more time, these terms and this identification process, do you need to know this to read Latin or English and understand what you're reading? No, of course not. But when we're talking about grammar structures in a classroom, it helps if everybody knows what these words mean so that we can talk about what we're reading and what the grammar structures are that we're looking at. There are 5 cases: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. The uses that you're most often going to see with these cases: subject, possessive, partitive, or objective, indirect object, direct object of a verb or object of a preposition or place to which, and cause, accompaniment, means, manner, place from which, or place from which. Sorry, there's a typo on that slide. It should say place from which there, not place to which. So with this terminology, there's a couple different things you need to do. You need to know the names of the cases: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. You need to know what the uses are called: subject, object, and so forth. And you need to know that subjects are always nominative, that possessives are always genitive, that indirect objects are always dative, that direct objects are always accusative, and all that weird by, with, because of, from, cause, accompaniment, means, manner stuff, all that extra stuff, that's always going to be ablative.